Okay, let's talk pivoting on my feature film that I'm going to shoot at the end of the year. If you have or haven't seen stuff that I've done on my channel about this, I'm making a movie at the end of the year. It's going to be micro budget, found footage in the woods somewhere, a couple of actors improvising over a weekend, and the plan is shoot it at the end of the year, try to get it out of post-production February, March next year. Tiny project, cheap project, paying the actors, paying for food, maybe paying for a vehicle if you can't find a good vehicle, and then just going out for a long weekend and grabbing footage and trying to make that into a movie. Small independent, situation. So I've been squirreling away money. I need to get onto the rest of it, the producing of it all, since I only have like 6 or 8 weeks until I need to reasonably shoot it. And so part of the reason why I've been making videos about it on my channel is to sort of force myself to keep working on it, guilt myself into doing it. And November 1st came around, and I'm in the US, and the government is closed, and I've heard rumblings that insurance, government insurance next year is going to be ass. And so I went ahead and applied, and so I have the worst healthcare you can basically. I have the worst insurance plan you can basically get in the U.S. It's government subsidized, and it's a low quality plan. It's very expensive to see the doctor, and it sucks. And 2 years ago, I didn't take any deduction, or I didn't take any rebates from the government. I don't remember why I didn't. I don't know if I was eligible or not, but the plan that I was on, which is the same plan that I have now and the same plan I'm going to have later, was almost $400 a month. So I was basically paying $400 a month for terrible insurance that I didn't use, and it sucked. And then last year, so this year, I stayed on the plan. It went up from 400 to about 490, which was terrifying, but it is what it is. But I got a government rebate of $470, so I'm paying $21 a month this year for terrible insurance, and honestly, that's probably what it's worth, or it's worth to me. So I plugged it in, knowing that the government is closed partially because of this insurance situation. The same plan that is 490 now, 400 2 years ago, will be 677 next year. Whatever percentage up that is. So basically, it's up 50% over 2 years. So it went from 400 to almost 700 in 2 years. And because I made a little bit more last year, or I will have made more this year, instead of getting a $470 rebate, I'm only getting like a $200 and something rebate. So I will be paying almost $400 a month again insurance next year, with the government rebate, with the new insurance premiums. So every month I'm going to be paying almost $400 a month of insurance, whereas this year that I'm on, $21, and again, it's terrible insurance. All of this to say, I had been budgeting and putting money away for a movie. Now that I think I pretty much have to put that couple grand that I have into a savings account so I can pay my insurance every month, because and it took a while to get to $2 grand. $400 a month of insurance that I hadn't planned for. That's a car payment. I don't have a car payment for the very reason of this, where it's stressful. Having said that, maybe my shock and my reaction will be a part of a larger shock and reaction of other Americans in the same situation, because this is insane, and it's terrible insurance. It's incredibly expensive to get work done or buy medicine. Anyway, yeah, so that money's gone. So that budgeted money that I had been saving for this short film, this feature film, not short film, feature film, to be clear. I've done short films. This would be my first feature that I would have shot myself. I've participated in shooting a documentary before, but this will be a proper narrative, improvised. Yeah, that money's gone. So what can we do? Well, let's go through the list. So location's gonna be the same. Probably camping somewhere. So maybe pay for a camping permit or something. Maybe pay for film permits, but although it's Texas, so maybe not. That's not gonna be a problem. Connected to that is a car rental in case we're gonna change cars. We could throw that out. I have a crappy car. A couple of 20-somethings going into the woods. Right now, all those horror movies, they're all driving Mercedes-Benzes into the woods. But, there was a time when you drove your crappy Honda Civic into the woods. I got a Toyota Camry. It looks like a crappy college kid car. Bing, bang, boom. No problem there. Actors. So I was going to pay my actors. I was planning on paying my actors. I wasn't sure about how much yet because of a PA rate right now is like $230, $250. So it would probably be more than that. It'd probably be closer to like $300 a day. So call that 2 actors, 4 days. That's $1,200. So you see where the lion's share of what I saved up would have gone to. I don't know how I'm going to swing that now, but film school would tell you, well, actors need real material, and you need actors. So it's a great switch. But having gone to film school, no, it's heavily weighted in favor of the film students, and it's just doesn't stand right by me. And I'm not in film school anymore, so I know there's a time and place for tiny budgets of films to not pay their actors. I'm making a point to pay my actors on this project, and I'm just gonna have to figure out how to do that. And it's not gonna be back end because that's not fair. So I gotta figure out a way to pay for my actors, and it won't be in trade. They'll be getting cash. I just haven't figured out how yet. In addition to that, food is the one thing that I won't budge on. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna turn camping food into good food, but I will find a way, because I'm not okay with everybody eating granola bars for 3 days straight. It's just not cool. So costumes, it was going to be what they brought, but they were going to go camping. Props is the weird one, because I had convinced myself that these guys were going to be in this movie travel vloggers, and so I was going to probably either rent or most likely buy just all the travel vlogging equipment and have them use it and have that be part of what is the movie, like them literally recording the movie themselves. Having said that, I would feel horrible not paying actors and then having them use cameras that I bought. So whether or not I pay the actors, and I need to figure that out, probably have to throw out the whole using travel vlogging gear of it all, unless I can find a sweet rental, but I'd be very surprised. So yeah. And then acquisition, the last thing I wrote is acquisition, which is kind of in reference to the fact that they're going to be using cameras for most, if not all, of the film themselves, where they're, because they're documenting their own Blair Witch situation. I have cameras that I can take out there that will cost nothing, because I already own them, and they're well used. So, if they die, they die. That's not a problem. It does sort of call into question the travel vlogger of it all, because I could still buy some broken or dead or cheap rentals that are travel vlogging cameras, but I wouldn't be able to probably use any of the footage from it, which I kind of feel like kind of defeats the purpose. Because tangent time, that YouTuber who I never watched, because I don't really watch film criticism YouTube, because I have film friends and I'm getting that from every side, including out of my own mouth anyway. So I don't really watch film criticism, but this YouTuber made a movie called Shelby Oaks. I watched it the other day, not knowing it was made by a YouTuber, not knowing anything about it, just knew it was a Blumhouse movie, and it has an actor that I like. She was in Shoresy. And no opinion on whether or not you're going to go watch it. Do you. It went to theaters. I think that's the nicest thing I can say about it. I was pretty dissatisfied, but I will say the first 30 minutes of the movie were the best part. And what they did was, it was It's three. The first 30 minutes are three sort of woven stories. One is a sit down interview with an older sister of the girl that went missing. So it's like a Dateline kind of interview at her house. So that's happening. She's telling the story about her sister. Then it's archival footage and YouTube footage from her sister's YouTube channel, which was four of them. They were ghost hunting, which is still a thing in the YouTube sphere, to my chagrin. But they were ghost hunting, and so you're seeing archival footage from YouTube, but you're also seeing sort of BTS footage from where the sister's like freaking out and stuff. That didn't make YouTube, so that's nice. And then the third is sort of just the everything else that like the investigation has found out up until this point, which is not much. And so there's three stories. So it was really interesting because you had the sit down interview kind of like this of the very sad sister, older sister. You had the archival footage, and then you had sort of like the connecting tissue Dateline style a little bit. And I thought that worked really well. And then the other 2/3 of the movie were her interacting with a guy at the end of her interview and then going over to Shelby Oaks, which happened to be like 20 minutes away. And I feel like that was the biggest plot hole on earth. And then, holding a flashlight and going through abandoned buildings. And not a fan. So, but I will say the first part, which had the Dateline interview and the YouTube footage and the archival footage, was kind of very interesting and fascinating and awesome. And why that got abandoned in the movie, I don't know, because it was way better than the rest of the movie. So how this relates to my stuff, I was gonna have them be travel vloggers, and so either all of it or a proportion of it was gonna be them doing their travel vlog. If I throw that out, that's a big, that was the big hook, because otherwise it's just a Blair Witch situation where they're improvising, being chased around in the woods in the dark kind of thing. If I throw away the travel vlogger thing, I feel like I need to replace that with something at least as good, with a light on me and a camera rolling. I can't think of something, so it might be a sit down at coffee shop and just jerk it out on the page with a pen kind of a situation. But I think that is necessary because I've been thinking about it, and I just don't see a situation where if it's just 2 or 3 kids in their 20s going into the woods and getting terrorized by something and it's totally improvised. I mean, I'd still watch it, but as far as have I seen that movie before? Yes, I've seen every iteration of that movie before. And I like it, but I just don't see that to being interesting. Whereas them being travel vloggers and having that extra perspective, I think would have been really useful. So I think that's my next step. Is I need to how do I replace that big puzzle piece that was travel vloggers with something interesting that's not going to cost me a bunch of money. And also, and secondarily, I need to still figure out how to pay my actors, but I think I'm just going to have to do it and then be really, 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 really careful for the first few months on work, because I'm a freelancer, and so work is unpredictable, and traditionally the first few months of the year are my big breadwinning months, other than October, November. But until I've done it, you can't really say it's going to happen. So I got to be real careful. But I feel like I have to pay the actors. I feel like that's necessary for the amount of bullshit I'm going to put them through. Not terrorizing them, not Jared Leto kind of crap, but just the fact that I'm asking these people to trust me and to go out on basically a 3-day camping trip where they're basically working the whole time. So I feel like that's not fair if you're not getting paid, and it's not a negotiable. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice if the government opened back up, or if people that are in my situation with this insurance become vocal, because holy crap, $400 is a lot of money, and $400 a month is the difference between, for me, being paycheck to paycheck or not. I mean, that's really what, and I don't think that's a unique experience, you know. So, sucks, but at the end of the day, goalposts being what they are, you know, politics being what they are, I said I was going to make a movie. I'm going to make a movie. I'm not going to ask for money because I don't feel good about that, and this is not that kind of project. So I got to find workarounds. TBD, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I come back next week with a big bright idea and momentum and optimism, and have digested the fact that I may be paying almost $500,000 a month for shit healthcare again. I've done it before and it sucked. But I'm paying more for rent this time, so it's even scarier. Anyway, like, share, subscribe if you care to. Catch you next time.